Hey guys, it's me, Down Under Tea. We are back again, thankfully, for episode 143 of Meet Me in the Bunker. And we are coming to you today to bring you the award for the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which has been awarded to Charlie Kirk posthumously, seeing as some arrogant little upstart decided that Charlie Kirk was no longer a necessary human to have on this planet. And we all know how I feel about that person. But it was a lovely ceremony today. It was supposed to be held in the East Room, apparently. I just heard on a news briefing. It was supposed to be held in the East Room, but so many people wanted to attend that they moved it to the Rose Garden. And it was a beautiful day. President Trump spoke as President Trump always speaks, and it was followed by a very eloquent acceptance speech on Charlie's behalf by his beautiful wife. Can't say anything else other than beautiful because she is stunning. Well, there you go. There's another word. Stunning and beautiful wife, Erica Kirk. His parents were in attendance. All of the Charlie Kirk show hosts and producers and whatnot that have been normally behind the scenes, who are now front of camera because of this situation, all in attendance. Charlie was an extraordinary person. People that continue to this day to assume he was anything else than that. Well, they all know how I feel about them and what they can do with their opinions. As far as I'm concerned, I know for a fact that none of these people that are talking to me about it have ever met the man, ever sat down with the man for, let alone, as long as I did, 0.2 of a second. So I don't care. And if you don't want to watch anything that I do ever, or read anything I ever post ever, again, I don't care. So that goes to anybody that is going to try and tell me what sort of a person Charlie Kirk was without ever knowing him, meeting him, or probably even watching one of his videos. And so, time allowing, I will try and get to that podcast that I spoke about the other night the name of the podcast is Nadia for Real. Not Is Nadia for Real, but Nadia is for real, or Nadia for real. And I think it should be changed to Is Nadia for Real, and you'll understand why in a moment. Excuse me. That's my computer guy. So I'm going to have to call him back. Yes, so without further ado, and so I can call my computer guy back, I'm going to get started with this ceremony, and then we'll chat after that, and we'll get into the other thing, and if we have time. I've got a couple of appointments, and I'm babysitting the grandkids today, so got school pickups and stuff like that to handle today, but hopefully we will have time because it is still relatively early. Okay guys, I'm going to get into this. Let me just set the screen up. There. We've got volume. And yes, we have. Okay. All right. This is the presentation of the Presidential Medal of Freedom awarded to Charlie Kirk in honour of all the things he did to make America great again. Enjoy. Get some tissues. Oh, see, why is it muted?
Is it? Yep, that's Trump, right? It's hard for me to see. It's a small screen. Yeah, there is. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously Medal of Freedom.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please, this is such an honor. This is the, please be seated. This is the first time we've been at the new and improved Rose Garden, and people are loving it. They're loving it like they've not loved a lot of things. We have the Presidential Walk of Fame, which you just saw, and that just opened. We wanted to get it open for this occasion. We were hoping we were able to get outside, and the weather allowed us to. It was supposed to be a terrible rainy day. I was telling Eric, and God was watching, and he didn't want that for Charlie. He just didn't want that. So it's really beautiful. It couldn't be more beautiful. Today we're here to honor and remember a fearless warrior for liberty, beloved leader who galvanized the next generation like nobody I've ever seen before, and an American patriot of the deepest conviction, the finest quality and the highest caliber, the late, great Charlie Kirk. Five weeks ago, our nation was robbed of this extraordinary champion. He was a champion in every way. I got to know him so well. He didn't like losing. And he was able to fight people that were enemies. And he didn't necessarily love those enemies so much. You know, I heard he loved his enemies. And I said, wait a minute, is that the same Charlie that I know? I'm not sure. But I didn't want to get into it. But it was a horrible, heinous, demonic act of murder. He was assassinated in the prime of his life for boldly speaking the truth, for living his faith and relentlessly fighting for a better and stronger America. He loved this country. And that's why this afternoon it's my privilege to posthumously award Charles James Kirk, our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you. As you know, only hours ago, I returned from a very historic trip to secure peace in the Middle East. People said that couldn't be done. Charlie felt it could be done. Charlie felt it could be done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. But I raced back halfway around the globe. I was going to call Erica and say, Erica, could you maybe move it to Friday? And I didn't have the courage to call. But you know why I didn't call? Because I heard today was Charlie's birthday. And I said, you know, that was a definite. And I said, we're going to have to forget about some of those very big, very rich countries that expected me to be there. And I can tell you, based on the length of that flight, I wouldn't want to go back tomorrow. But I would not have missed this moment for anything in the world, nothing. And it's a very important time for our country, and our country is doing so well. It's never done better. We are a country with almost now $18 trillion of investment coming in. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. Previous administration had less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We have more than 18, it'll be much more than 20 by the time the year, more than $20 trillion. There's never been a country in the world that had anything like that. What's happened to our country is incredible in a short period of time. Charlie was a big person for sir, can we close up those borders, please, a little bit? You know, they're really leaking badly. I said, Charlie, I haven't gotten there yet. But, you know, it came out last 4 months. Literally nobody was allowed into our country. And the only people that were allowed in were people that came in legally. The borders are absolutely stone cold closed. And they reported 0, 0, 0, and 0. So that's pretty good. But he was a big believer. He wanted people in the country more than I did, frankly. He wanted them to come in legally. And he got his wish. October 14th is Charlie's birthday, and he should have been turning 32 years old. I tell you, when I first met him, he was like 22. And I said, boy, he's awfully young. But I thought he was older than that, you know. He looked a little bit older than his age. That's okay, you know. That's not good when you're old, but when you're young, it's great. He had the best of all things, but he was special. But instead, Charlie is attaining a far more important milestone. We're entering his name forever into the eternal roster of true American heroes. He's a true American hero, an amazing person, way, way beyond his years. And I'm honored to be joined by a woman who has endured unspeakable hardship with unbelievable strength, and that's Charlie's widow, Erica. And I just want to thank you, Erica. He loved you so much. I was with him. Yeah, please. Thank you, darling. Thank you. I was with him before I met Erica, and he told me he was going to get married. He said, you won't believe how beautiful she is. I said, well, then now that I meet her, he's right. But then he also said, and you know what? She's like the smartest person I know. See, they do go together on occasion. Not often. Not often. But on occasion they go together. But he was in love with you. He was deeply in love with you. It's great. Erica, your love and courage have been an inspiration to all of us, and we will always be here for you, and we're always going to be here for your gorgeous, beautiful children. And we'll never forget what your family has sacrificed for our country. Man loved our country. When things were going badly for our country, he was so, as you know, angry. He would get angry because he said it doesn't have to be that way. We're also pleased to be joined by an incredible group of Charlie's friends, very powerful friends, actually, and some not so powerful, and they're actually better people, okay? I know them all. They're the less powerful ones. I have to tell you that, all of you power guys down here. The best ones in the group are the ones that are less successful, but that happens too. No, they're all great, and they're here. And let's start with Erica's father. Where is Erica's father? Where are you? Where are you, Dad? Oh, look at him. Wow. I want to get a hat like that, too. I like that. How are you? Nice to see you again. Thanks as well to Vice President J.D. Vance, who's been fantastic. J.D., thank you very much. Great. Doing a great job. Did a great job on Sunday with George Slopadopoulos. I thought put him away pretty good. Second lady, who's a phenomenal woman, Usha Vance. Thank you very much, Usha. Thank you very much. Great woman. President of Argentina. He wanted to be here. That's Argentina's a serious flight, right? And he's become a superstar, and he's doing amazing things. He's a MAGA person, but it's make Argentina great again. That's what he does, right? And I want you to stand, please, Javier Milei. Doing a great job. Thank you very much. Many members of my cabinet are here, just about all of them are here. I won't go into every single one of them, but I'll announce a few of the people that have really turned this country around and helped me. Incredible people. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Where is Mike? Mike, what a job you're doing, Mike. What a job you're doing. And I watched you this morning, and you're in there trying to say, look, just let the country open. Everything will be fine. We're dealing with some radical left lunatics. And I just wish Charlie was here to fight us. I think the fight would have been over already. You would have had a march on the Capitol by people whose average age is about 21, because there's nobody that had that relationship with young people. Right, Mike? So thank you, Mike, for being here. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Steve, thank you very much. A brave guy and a friend. House Majority Whip, another terrific man, Tom Emmer. Thank you, Tom. Senate Majority Whip, John Barrasso. John, thank you very much. You have all these senators. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm not going to read all their names. I'll be reading all day. We'll be talking about Charlie in about 45 minutes from now. We can't do that. So all of the senators, there's so many of you, thank you very much. I do want to thank Senator Thune for doing a terrific job. He's really been leading properly. Do you agree, Mike? The team, the two of these guys have been fantastic. So to Senator Thune, I want to thank you very much. Incredible job. I watched him this morning, and he was out there pounding them this morning on television, too. And John Barrasso, thank you for the work you've done, and congratulations on your success. But I want to thank you all and all of the Congress people that are here. And I see we have our Attorney General here, and you are doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Pam. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have everybody. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, I'm not going to do any more. I'm going to be here too long. But I just want to thank you. You have given him such support, but he always gave you such support. That's why you're here. And very unusual. Charles James Kirk was a visionary and one of the greatest figures of his generation. He was truly an amazing figure and growing leaps and bounds. He knew that the fight to preserve our heritage is waged not only on the battlefield and in the halls of power, of which we have tremendous power here, including the head of a place called war. We call it now war. We had defense. We had our Secretary of Defense. Now we have a Secretary of War. And somehow I think it's more emblematic, and hopefully we'll never have to use war. But the fact that we're ready is very good. Peace through strength is very important. But also in the hearts of our nation's youth, that's where Charlie rode strongest. At age 18, that insight inspired Charlie to found the organization that ultimately touched the lives of millions and millions of people, and so many young people that nobody's ever seen anything like it, frankly. Turning Point USA. It's amazing, and it's actually bigger now. It's become bigger in the last few weeks than Charlie ever thought. I think his end vision in many years from now would have been just a fraction of what it turned out to be in a couple of weeks, right? It's amazing. With hard work and joyful spirit and endless enthusiasm and determination. And he did have great enthusiasm. You know, I always say you need enthusiasm to be successful. Enthusiasm. Charlie grew Turning Point into the largest conservative youth organization in the entire country. He forged a personal bond with countless young conservatives. He fought for free speech, religious liberty, strong borders, and a very strong and proud America. In everything he did, he put America first. He really put America first. And ultimately, Charlie became more than a leader of an important organization. He became the leader of historic movements all over the country. There were movements, individual movements, one movement, but it was historic. Everything he did was historic, and a true evangelist for the cause of freedom and the word of Almighty God. God was very important to Charlie. He would say, you know, if you don't have religion, you're not going to have a strong country. It's true. He was so wise beyond his years. You know, I talk to him sometimes and say, this guy is like a young guy. He was really a wise man. From the time Charlie worked on my presidential campaign in 2016, and he was there right from the beginning. He liked me. I don't know. I have no idea why. What the hell was he thinking? He said, you're going to win, sir. I said, you know, I'm running against 17 senators and a lot of tough people and governors. We have all these people. And he said, no, you're going to win, sir. He said, not going to be close. And he made it happen. He helped make it happen, I'll tell you that. Without him, who knows what would be. Maybe you'd have Kamala standing here today. That would not be good. I will tell you, Javier, you don't know who Kamala is. Promise, it would not be good. You agree with that, Howard? He also mobilized countless citizens to go vote. It's called Go Vote. Very simple. And with his help in 2024, we won more young people than any Republican by far in the history of our country. And we won the popular vote. We won them. Remember, they said, oh, well, if Trump could win 4, that would be nice. I win 7 by a lot, by a landslide. But the popular vote was massive. And we won the Electoral College. Remember, they said, well, it's going to be very hard. I'd say 270. Well, we got 312 to 226. And then we won something called districts and councils and different things. But in one case, we won 2,750 to 525. That's the one where you see the map is almost entirely red, except they have a little blue line on one side and a little blue line, meaning New York, and a little bit Los Angeles. I have a feeling that if the vote were 100%, we would have won that too. You want to know the truth. But he knew, and he knew very well, and he also understood honesty, and he was always concerned with honesty. He said the only way we can lose is if the cheating gets so bad, and that's where we came up with a little phrase, too big to rig. We said, go out and vote. Just go out and vote. And we had that. Remember, we used to say that all the time because people would say, oh, they're going to win. We don't have to vote. Let's go to a movie. We'll come home and watch later. And he wasn't about that. So we come up to, really together, we came up with that phrase. We got to make it too big. I never made a speech where I didn't say at the end, now look, the polls are showing good. Don't believe the polls. I said, we're going to make it, Susie, right? Too big to rig. So if you think we're going to win by a lot, doesn't matter. Pretend we're losing. You got to go out and vote. They voted. And at 9:02, the whole thing was over, right? 9:02. Remember they said, oh, this could go a few days. Well, it went a few minutes. 9:02. And he knew that. And I felt it, but he knew it. He knew it. I think he knew it more than anybody. But Charlie never missed an opportunity to remind us of the Judeo-Christian principles of our nation's founding or to share his deep Christian faith. In his final moments, Charlie testified to the greatness of America and to the glory of our Savior, with whom he now rests in heaven. And he is going to make heaven. I said, I'm not sure I can make it, but he's going to make it. He's there. He's looking down on us right now. It's so incredible. Look at this, how this turned out. This was supposed to be so dark and cloudy. Not dark and cloudy, is it? Look at that, how beautiful that is. There's no artist that can capture it as beautiful as it is today. Wow, it's amazing. As I said, on the day that he was assassinated, Charlie Kirk was a martyr for truth and for freedom. And from Socrates to think, and to St. Peter, from Abraham Lincoln to Martin Luther King, those who change history the most, and he really did, have always risked their lives for causes they were put on earth to defend. He was put on earth to do exactly what he was doing. He didn't want to waste time. He would have been a top student at any college in the country. I know the college as well. He's smarter than the guys there. He was so smart. But he almost, I guess, didn't have the time. He knew what he wanted to do. It wasn't like, gee, I want to sit in the classroom for 4 years listening to people teach me liberal principles, because they were never going to teach him that anyway. But he didn't have the time. He really didn't have the time. But every time the enemies of goodness and virtue tried to silence the voice of righteous and noble leaders like Charlie, they failed. They seem to fail. Ultimately, they look like they're doing well, and then they end up failing, because the truth has been unrelenting over the years, over history. And people like Charlie, it's just they've got a power that others don't have, and very few people will ever have. So today, like those martyrs before him, Charlie's voice, his message, and his legacy are stronger and greater than ever before. They are greater than ever before. It was a horrible event, but it brought out the greatness of Charlie. Nothing could have ever supplanted this. It's incredible, the way people are talking about him. And with great love. I mean, I read so many stories about some of the enemies, but I watch the enemies, and it's hard for them to speak badly about him because they just don't. And then you do have people in the days since Charlie's killing, we've seen exactly why our country so dearly needed his example. We've watched legions of far-left radicals resort to desperate acts of violence and terror because they know that their ideas and arguments are persuading no one. They know that they're failing. They have the devil's ideology, and they're failing, and they know it. They feel it, and they become violent. They seem to become very violent on the left. They've rammed vehicles into federal law enforcement, fired sniper rifles at ICE agents, and me, But I made a turn at a good time. I turned to the right. Charlie couldn't believe it, actually. He said, "How the hell did you make that turn?" I said, "I don't know." But fired rifles and threatened the lives of our Supreme Court justices, our great justices. They have to be protected. We just issued a lot of money, $60 million, to protect the Supreme Court justices. Very important. We can't let anything happen. In places of worship, we're protecting our people. We've seen that a candidate for Attorney General in Virginia boasted that he would want to see the Republican legislature, a legislator in Virginia, shot in the head and to see his children murdered. He actually said this. And now he continues to run for office, and most people continue to back him, but he said he wants his man shot. He said shot in the head and to see his children murdered. And they keep running. Pretty amazing, right? That's a bad one. Let's see how that turns out, but that's a really bad one. Nobody's heard that one before. Especially in the wake of Charlie's assassination, our country must have absolutely no tolerance for this radical left violence, extremism, and terror. We're done with the angry mobs, and we're not going to let our cities be unsafe. We're going to make sure our cities are safe. When you have Chicago, where they had 4,000 people murdered over a very short period of time, 4,000 people, and then we have a governor stand up and say, "Oh, things are going swimmingly." No, they're not. We're going to make Chicago safe, just like we're going to make. Look what we did in D.C. It's so nice that we started here, because this was one of the most violent places in the United States. It'd be dangerous to be right out here. But you couldn't go to a restaurant. The restaurants were all dying. The whole place was dying. You'd have these gorgeous, look at the Washington Monument over there. You'd have these gorgeous buildings and monuments and structures. And people were afraid to leave their apartment. They were afraid to go to work. They'd get into an Uber, and they'd feel safe, and then the Uber would be attacked. They thought they made it, and then the Uber was attacked on the trip in. But we've done a great job, and now it's considered a totally safe city. We haven't had problems. It took us 12 days to make it great. We took out, Pam, 1,700 hard criminals, career criminals in many cases, but these are hardened criminals. Many of them came in through the Biden open borders. We brought them back to the countries. And a couple were so violent that we put them in jail. We don't want to take a chance that they could get back in, because no matter how good we do, somebody can sneak in. They were so violent and so bad. One arrested 28 times. Every time he left prison, he'd get into a violent incident. 28 times. And we put him away for a long time. But we're done with the angry mobs. We're done with it. This is such an unbelievable place right now. You take a look where you can walk down the middle of the street with your wife or your husband. Your children can walk. They can walk alone. It doesn't matter. They can walk anywhere in Washington, and they're safe now. If this were a year ago, they'd have a serious chance of being badly hurt, even killed. They'd come in from Indiana, they'd come in from Iowa, they'd come from Florida to see their nation's capital, and somebody would have to call the parents, "I'm sorry, but your son or your daughter's been killed." Not anymore. You hear those sirens going off? That's good. That's a good sound. That means they either got the bad guy or they're going to stop the bad guy. You didn't hear that sound because nobody wanted to do anything. Nobody. Listen to the beauty of that sound. Seriously. And that's the real deal sirens. They're not politically correct sirens. You hear them, they're about 3 miles away. That's great. What a beautiful sound. They're stopping crime. That's what they're doing. So we're done with the voices of fools. They're fools. and death threats, and we're going to make our cities safe. And I thought it was Charlie's, one of his biggest dreams was that. He couldn't believe it. Chicago is going to be a great city again. We've already, we sent people in there 6 months ago, and this governor said, well, crime is down. Yeah, that's because we had the FBI in there for 6 months, just preparing it for the bigger surge. And they've done a great job, the cash and the FBI. They've done a great job, and they love doing it, They love being able to do it. They were restricted from doing it. They couldn't do anything. And now they're totally unrestricted. All they have to do is stop crime, and they're doing it. By the way, Memphis, as you know, you heard they went in about a week ago, one of the most dangerous places in the country, really in the world. It's not just the country. They have very few cities that would compare to some of these cities. You go to Afghanistan, you say, oh, that's unsafe. Well, the crime numbers are much better than the crime numbers in places that we have. So Memphis, I understand, is doing unbelievably in 1 week. It's like a different place. And this took 12 days, and then after that, we just perfected it. But after 12 days, we had good safety here. After 1 month, it's like, it's really amazing. And by the way, restaurants are booming. Restaurants are opening up. The big problem we have, you can't get into a restaurant in D.C. anymore. So they're opening up. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's called safety. It's called law enforcement and letting them do their job. And that's why I said last month that I have directed the Attorney General and the Department of Homeland Security to confront the very real threat of left-wing terrorism in our country. It's a real threat. Not when you confront it, it's not, because they're not brave people. In fact, they're cowards. When you confront them, they immediately fold. You have to see them fold. You have to see them crying. They fold. But it includes dismantling the networks that fund them and finance them, and we're finding out who those networks are. We already know quite a few of them. When you see these violent incidents, and then you see people holding this gorgeous sign with beautiful wood, beautiful cardboard, wood, everything's perfect paint job, and they're all the same. There are thousands of them. You know that they weren't made in the basement out of love. They were made by anarchists, and in some cases wealthy. I'll probably find some of my nice friends that are up there being so nice to me, especially lately. They're being very nice. But it surprises you who they may be, and you almost wonder why would they do it? But they're hurting our country, and we're really taking it back one by one. If we didn't go into Los Angeles early on in the administration, the commissioner, the chief of police, Los Angeles, said if they didn't go in, we would have lost our city. Now, they already lost 25,000 houses to fire because they wouldn't let the water come in from the Pacific Northwest, which they should have done. I said, you better do it. They didn't do it, and we had 25,000 homes where they had no water in their sprinklers, they had no water in the fire hydrants. It would have been a different kind of a thing if they did what they were supposed to do. We had to break in. We broke in and had the water come down. They said for the environment, great, they lost 25,000 houses. It's incredible. But the commissioner said without the federal government and President Trump's intervention, we would have lost the entire city. And we have the Olympics going there soon. I got the Olympics. We have the Olympics. We have the World Cup. And we have, most importantly, we have the 250th anniversary of our country. That's going to be most important. And all of these things are happening. And we're going to have safe cities. We're going to have very, very safe cities. So 1 month after Charlie's death, we still feel the terrible shock and the pain of his loss, like just about nobody I can think of. Charlie Kirk was one of a kind. He was unstoppable. And he really was. Boy, when he had an idea in his head, he would call me, sir, please, you haven't done it yet. I said, Charlie, relax. Just relax. He didn't relax. He'd call me the next day again. It got it done. But he was like indomitable and always will be. He's really irreplaceable. Nobody can replace him. But they're going to do great. But you can't replace that kind of person and that kind of talent, frankly. The word talent is an important word, but that kind of talent. So we hold his memory in our hearts forever. Every single day of this administration, we will continue to carry out the mission for which he lived, and he really did. He lived for this country. He lived for his wife and his family, but he lived for this country too. In Charlie's honor, we will continue like we have been to fight, 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 and to win, win, win. We're going to win so much. So the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a big deal. You have the Congressional Medal of Honor, military, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is civilian. And the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a really big deal. Very few people get it. Very few people, frankly, qualify. It's a decision of the president, but it's a qualification that's a very hard one to get. And I would like to ask, if I might, the military aide to read Charles James Kirk's citation for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Charles James Kirk. Accepting on behalf of Charlie is his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk was one of the most influential American political figures of his generation. At just 18 years old, he founded Turning Point USA and grew it into the largest conservative youth organization in the nation. For over a decade, he tirelessly traveled the country, leading a movement to restore respect for our founding principles, reawaken our national identity, and inspire a renewed spirit of religious devotion. He was one of the great debaters and communicators of his time. Despite receiving repeated threats, he remained undeterred and modeled courage, logic, humor, and grace to the next generation. On September 10th, 2025, at age 31, Charlie Kirk was assassinated while addressing a group of students. The United States honors him as a martyr for truth and freedom.
Okay, so we have got Erica is just about to start her speech, but I just thought I would intervene here and just have a quick chat about some of those things that President Trump said about Charlie, and every single one of them is truer than true. He did fight every day for people to go out and vote. Like, he even inspired me, who lives here in Australia, to inspire people to go out and vote. And I did the same thing here. Whenever I had the opportunity to talk to somebody about our voting and our elections that were coming up, I obviously took it rather than chose the no politics at the table rule. But that's the way you've got to live, fearless of what the consequences might be if you do talk about it, because it is the most important and almost the only structure that we have as a nation to decide our own fate. And Charlie knew that. Charlie knew that that is how all nations exist, by the dedication of its people, of the nation's people, their dedication to survival, their dedication to greatness, their dedication to the simple things in life, their dedication to wanting better. You know, they say the simple things in life are free, but often they're not. Simple things in life, like going to a movie with your family, or going down to the park and having fish and chips, may not have ever been free, so to speak, but it's certainly a lot more unachievable than it was in the 50s and 60s, and let's even go as far as the 70s and 80s. So, you know, Australia was its most prosperous. I know from my personal experience, the most prosperous years were the 90s and 2000s to 2010, 2007, when the global financial crisis, thank you, President Obama, happened. But even then, we sort of still managed to live and live well. But that's no longer the case anymore. And you hear people say that Charlie was a simple man and he wasn't extravagant. He didn't go around with like gold chains and 10 rings on his fingers like you see some people do that have platforms. And it still was enough for him to understand that if you become complacent, you'll lose it. You'll lose everything, even the rings on your fingers and the bells on your toes. And so being fearless, fighting for freedom, that's what this medal was given to him for. No one can dispute, no matter what side of the case they believe he was on, even if they believe he was the R word. He still fought for his version of freedom, which just happened to be the same version of 70% of the country. So that's a non-disputable issue. Now you're about to hear Erica Kirk say a lot of those things about her husband, and again, I just urge you to have a tissue next to you, because I do. I've already cried. My eyes are already getting moist just from thinking about it. So we're going to push along, get that done, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you, Mr. President, for honoring my husband in such a profound and meaningful way. And thank you for making this event a priority amid the peace process in the Middle East. Thank you. Very grateful. Charlie always admired your commitment to freedom, and that's something that both of you shared. So thank you. Your support of our family and the work that Charlie devoted his life to will be something I cherish forever, so thank you. To our gracious First Lady in her office for making this event possible, thank you as well. It's beautiful. To Vice President and the lovely Usha fans, your friendship has been an unbelievable encouragement. Thank you. And to all our friends and family that are here and watching from all around the world, thank you for loving us. Thank you for praying for us and for believing in what Charlie believed in. And to our Turning Point USA staff and the Charlie Kirk Show staff, we love you more than you could ever know. And to the Turning Point USA chapters that are watching all across America right now, you are the heartbeat of this future and of this movement. Everything that Charlie built, you guys are the legacy holders of that. You are living proof that his mission did not die with him. It lives through you. And Charlie always said the next generation will decide whether freedom endures. And because of you, I know that freedom will endure. It will. And today we're gathered not only to celebrate Charlie's birthday, but to honor a truth that he gave his entire life to defend, and that's freedom. The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises. He used to love to journal about this topic all the time, and with such a heart postured of gratitude. And he believed that liberty was both a right and a responsibility. And he used to say, freedom is the ability to do what is right without fear. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise, free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man. And that's exactly who my husband was. He was a free man. And from the time I met him, sitting across from him, being interviewed on politics and philosophy and theology, anything that Charlie loved, any topic he loved, and I just saw the fire in his soul, and there was this divine restlessness within him that came from knowing God placed him on this earth to protect something very, very sacred for all of us. And he never stopped fighting for people to experience freedom. He didn't. Charlie often said that without God, freedom becomes chaos. And he believed liberty could only survive when anchored to truth. And I remember in one of his speeches, he told the audience that the opposite of liberty isn't law. He said it's captivity. And that the freest people in the world are those whose hearts belong to Christ. But what's so powerful is that Charlie had the ability to communicate so brilliantly across all generations. And he reminded us that in a world that tells us freedom is doing whatever you want to do, the real freedom is the power to live freely and to do what is right. And in one of his journal entries, he wrote that he wanted everyone to know that you can't have liberty without moral responsibility. Freedom divorced from faith eventually just destroys itself. And what's so fascinating about all of this is looking back these past 12 years of Turning Point USA and his mission, there's almost this veil of sacredness. Because what I realize is that while he was building an organization, he was also building a movement. one that called people back to God, back to truth, and a movement that was filled with courage. And ironically, for a man who impacted millions, Charlie never desired to be the center of attention. He just wasn't. My husband was not a man of extravagance. He loved simple but deeply meaningful things. Truly. He loved his late night walks. He loved buying more books than he could ever read because he felt there was no such thing as a book budget. And he loved being able to read to our kids the same bedtime story on repeat because he knew it was their favorite. But to him, that was special. And he loved to sit in the sun on a Saturday morning with his cup of decaf coffee, and his phone was off because he was honoring the Sabbath. And for him, it was that moment to catch his breath and just be in peace because he was unreachable at the moment. And he preferred quiet birthdays. But that never stopped me from telling him. I told him every single year, I said, baby, I love your birthday. I said, because it's the day that God knew the world couldn't go another day without you. And so the rhythm of our usual birthday celebration for him was mint ice cream, mint chocolate chip ice cream. He only had it twice a year, on his birthday and 4th of July. It's just, and then after that, it was back to work as usual. But last year, his one birthday wish was to see the Oregon Ducks play the Ohio State. And they won. Oregon won that night. And it was by far one of the most memorable nights of his birthday experience of his life until today. And so, honestly, President Trump, I have spent 7.5 years trying to find the perfect birthday gift for Charlie. And it's so difficult. And those of you that have spouses or loved ones, you know how difficult it is sometimes to buy a gift for someone that you love, because he wasn't a materialistic man, so that also did not help. But now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have.
Thank you.
It's such an honor and the recognition of a life lived for defending freedom. And that's what Charlie fought for until his last breath. And it was written across his chest in those final moments on one of his simple t-shirts that always carried a message, and this one bearing a single word, freedom. That was the banner over his life, and that shirt was a declaration. The same declaration he made in every speech, every campus visit, every time he shared the gospel at a church, every sleepless night that he would spend praying for the youth of this nation and planning for the future of our country, and just impressing upon them that when we defend liberty, we defend the soul of our nation. My husband never told anyone what to say. He never did. He never told anyone what to say. He would just encourage them to think. He would encourage them to think outside of the traditional political labels. He would want them to think in a way that was anchored in wisdom and truth. But he would never tell anyone what to say. Charlie wasn't content to simply admire freedom. He wanted to multiply it. He wanted to multiply freedom. He wanted young people to taste it and to understand it and defend it. He wanted them to see that liberty isn't self-indulgence, it's self-governance under God. He wanted them to see that. And every day I'd see him getting ready for work. He'd put on his cross necklace, he'd put his ring on his finger. And the boldness in his demeanor was always fearlessness. He wasn't afraid. He was never afraid. In his daily actions, whether in office or on campus or at a church, it was always without fear. That was his creed. That is how he lived out every single day. He didn't fear being slandered. He did not. He didn't fear losing friends, I can tell you that. He didn't. He didn't care. He stood for truth and stood for freedom, and he did not, everything else was just noise to him. And it's because his confidence in Christ was absolute. That's why. There was no limit to what he would have sacrificed to defend freedom for all. And if the moment had come, he probably would have run for president, but not out of ambition. He would only have done it if that was something that he believed that his country needed from a servant's heart standpoint. And Charlie lived only 31 short years. I was 32, but on this side of heaven, but he lived. He lived every single second he lived. He filled every single day with purpose, and he fought for truth when it was unpopular. And he stood for God when it was costly, but that's what we're called to do. Surprisingly enough, he did pray for his enemies, which is very hard, but he did. He did. He did. No one else, I mean, I saw him do it. No, he never did it in front of anyone else, but I can attest to that. But he also loved people when it was inconvenient. And he ran his race with endurance, and he kept the faith. And now he wears the crown of a righteous martyr. And for me and for our children, the truth really steadies our grief, because heaven gained what earth could no longer contain. A free man made fully free. And to all watching, this is not a ceremony. This is the commissioning. And my message is simple. I want you to be the embodiment of this medal. I do. I want you to free yourself from fear. I want you to stand courageously in the truth. Listen for the still, small voice of God. And remember that while freedom is inherited in this country, each of us must be intentional stewards every single day. God began a mighty work through my husband, and I intend to see it through. And the torch is in our hands now. It's in mine, it's in yours, it's in all of yours, it's in all the students with Turning Point USA. And before I close, I'll share with you that I asked our daughter what she would like to say to Daddy for his birthday. Excuse me. She said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I want to give you a stuffed animal. I want you to eat a cupcake with ice cream, and I want you to go have a birthday surprise. I love you," is what she said. And while our son is precious, he can't yet speak, in classic Kirk family fashion, his actions spoke louder than his words, and his gift to you, Charlie, and myself for that matter, was deciding to become the man of the house and be fully potty trained at 16 months. But Charlie, baby, I know that you're celebrating in heaven today, but gosh, I miss you. We miss you, and we love you, and we promise we'll make you proud. And Charlie's life was proof that freedom is not a theory, it's a testimony. He showed us that liberty begins not in the halls of power, but in the man of a heart surrendered to God. And so today, as we honor Charlie with this incredible Presidential Medal of Freedom on his birthday, I stand here with tears and just a humbled heart and spirit, because his story reminds us all that to live free is the greatest gift, but to die free is the greatest victory. Happy birthday, my Charlie. Happy Freedom Day. God bless you.
volume for a minute. Now, I may be interrupted with another phone call in a moment because I'm expecting a phone call from my doctor. Not on my behalf, but on my mum's behalf. As you know, my mum's had her issues lately. So if I do, I will jump out and take the call, and I will flick you back over to this war room, remainder of the war room, what's left of it, and you'll hear Steve jutting in a few minutes anyway. So, but after that, and praise be God if the doctor calls soon, because she's always late, because she's very busy, we'll get into the next video for the day, and we're going to dissect that one. But as you heard there, Erica said quite a few things that I had said about Charlie. Simple things, and enjoyed getting out in the morning with a cup of coffee and his phone off. A lot of people do that. I know I love the fact that my phone has sleep mode on it, because people don't or can't call me after that. But she also said something about he didn't care about losing friends. And I just wonder if that was a little bit of a dig perhaps at Candace Owens. I'm not sure. Perhaps it was a dig at donors that obviously, according to those text messages, were hesitating for reasons only Charlie and those closest to Charlie and in the business and the donors themselves will ever know, because of his stance on what was going on in Israel. How ironic that that is all wrapped up now, and 2 days, not even 24 hours after President Trump signs the peace agreement, he is awarding Charlie the Medal of Freedom posthumously. And as rumours go, as some people are trying to perpetuate the rumour that Israel had something to do with Charlie's death, I don't believe it for 1 second. Let me just make that clear. But it stands to me that ironic that if they think that eliminating Charlie was going to help Israel perpetuate this war in Gaza, then President Trump wouldn't have been in Egypt yesterday signing peace agreements. I'm sure that the machinations for this peace agreement have been going on for the 10 months that President Trump's been in office. Let's not beat around the bush here. So I don't know how anybody, even if Charlie was having difficulty with his Jewish donors, even if they were getting spooked about Charlie's stance on Israel, of what benefit is it to Israel to have Charlie Kirk eliminated? Absolutely none. There is no worldly, earthly benefit to Charlie being assassinated. Charlie would have been at those peace meetings yesterday. Charlie might have even been invited to talk in the Knesset. I'm sorry, because that's how dedicated he was to peace in Israel and Gaza. That's how dedicated he was. Had Bibi Netanyahu asked him to fly over with President Trump and speak at the Knesset, or had the president... Here we go. Okay, I'll be back with you in just a moment, guys.
President of the United States, the widow Erica Kirk, and the family, close friends now heading into the Oval Office. The good and great of Washington in the Rose Garden for a simple yet powerful ceremony around the awarding of the Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk. President Trump in great form after his amazing trip to the Middle East, and Erica Kirk. I mean, what can you say? 3 major appearances. One, the night after Charlie was, I guess 2 nights after Charlie was assassinated on that Friday night, where she talked to the nation for 15 minutes. Then at Charlie's memorial service in Phoenix, Arizona, and now here in the Rose Garden, Washington, D.C. We're going to hold this shot in the music. Charlie's closest friends, you had Don Jr., many of the people around the White House and the staff and the cabinet that knew Charlie well. Jack Posobiec and Brian Glenn. Jack Posobiec, a very close friend of his and colleague at Turning Point, are in the audience. We're going to try to go to Jack and the team as soon as we can. They play How Great Thou Art, an Amazing Grace right before that. There's Don Jr. Very, very, very simple, powerful ceremony. Charlie would have loved this. A turnout on a Tuesday afternoon in Washington, D.C., late afternoon with the great and powerful all there. Of course, many Turning Point people, etc., for official Washington to turn out. Very extraordinary. This shows you the esteem that Charlie Kirk is held in. Only to a few Christian hymns, an address by the President of the United States, the widow speaks, and then the awarding of the ceremony, the awarding of the Presidential Medal, highest civilian award we have in the country. Like I said, very simple and very powerful. Although these things are very planned and scripted at the White House, including the number of people that come and the security arrangements, you could tell the number of chairs they had there. They probably had as many of those people in back. So this was a massive turnout. Done in the Rose Garden, I think, given the weather, absolutely perfect pick. These are always a little dicey, particularly in October, and particularly yesterday when the president got back, it was a blustery and rainy day yesterday, but a great pick for whoever in the White House made the decision. I think this was going to be in the East Room, which would have been fantastic, obviously. But to do it out in the Rose Garden, I thought was added to the simplicity and the power of it.
Okay. Let me just get this up here. So as you can see, President Trump's greeting the people that are coming into the Oval there. You've got a glimpse of his parents, devastated, and a few little things to dispel in Nadia's next video in regards to her thoughts on Erica Trump. So we're going to talk about her ignorant idea of people's reaction to death, because she seems to think that she can prove that someone is lying because of the way they behave after a loved one dies. I'm yet to not be surprised at the behaviour of somebody close to, who's lost somebody close to them. And I'm 57 and I've been to probably a shitload more of funerals than this lady has been to. So what I need to do here is, let me flick this over and I will adjust because this stupid thing's jumped off. But yeah, as you could see, Erica was elegantly dressed. Quack, excuse my quacks. Elegantly dressed. I'm still not 100% sure that she's not pregnant because you know, there is a lot of time, especially being, you know, at third time in, it would possibly be, you know, her body's used to it. Her body's used to that change now, and it won't show up as often or as soon. Why is this not showing up now? Okay, let me shrink that, and we're going to, right, okay, that's fine.
Hi, guys.
Now, what I do want to say, I don't know, this woman does look very familiar to me. I've seen her in somewhere, maybe on a talk show, I'm not sure, but I don't know, something about her face strikes a memory. But whether I have seen her before or not, I am... Right, okay. Okay. Whether I've seen her before or not, I am... Is that going to change now? Let me see. No, still showing that one. Back to camera one while I fiddle with this stuff. Right. Okay. Now, I know what I have to do. My apologies, peeps. And we've got to click that, and we've got to click that. That's why you can't see it. Right. Okay, back here. And hello. Okay. I think that works now. Yes. Right. So this is Nadia, folks. And as I mentioned in the top of the show, she had the absolute nerve to try and debunk Erica Kirk's post-death speech address to, excuse me, it's getting warm in here, post-address speech to Charlie's members and fans and everybody shortly after he was murdered. And now this was pre the memorial, and this so-called expert, called Nadia, whoever she is, has deemed that Erica Kirk was lying that day and that she is going to prove it. Again, I'm yet to be surprised at the way people behave at the loss of a loved one. And listen to how she relates everything back to an act. She calls Erica a bad actress. She's acting. This is all just an act. None of this is for real. She never loved Charlie. She never married him, bore his children, and pledged her life to him and her God. She never did any of that. This is all just a big Truman Show. And sadly, you know what? To people like Nadia here, who seems to be a psychologist, but she says she's worked in film and produced whatever it is. She's got a little YouTube award behind her. Anyway, sadly, people like Nadia actually do have to revert everything to a movie script or a sound stage, because that's the bubble that they live in. They live in that bubble where everything is made up like a Truman Show and we are all just puppets, scripted. Well, there is that thought that in faith our life is scripted, that God knows exactly when our time is up. I don't think Nadia does. So who the hell is Nadia to try and tell us, let alone Erica Kirk, what she feels and how she should express it 48 hours after Charlie's death? Let's take a look and see what Nadia has got to say.
So I keep getting asked what I think of Erica Kirk, her speeches, her recent behavior on the podcast, and if I think that any of it is real. So I'm here to assure you with 100% certainty that I'm not buying it. Now, before you come at me in the comments, keep in mind that this is just my opinion. You might have a different opinion, and that's fine.
What do you think?
I'm not here to change your mind.
Give me a
But if
break.
you watched her thinking something's off,
No.
I agree. And today,
course
I'll
you
show
do.
you the tells in her
'Cause
first
you're a
speech that
sicko.
led me to the conclusion that she's full of it. Let's get into it. I'm a trained actor, and I've worked in film and on stage for years, and I can tell you that any trained actor can see right through Erica Kirk. Good actors have different methods of getting into character. This allows them to express the genuine emotions that the scene elicits. But bad actors always have the same MO: exaggeration and melodrama. One of the biggest tells of a bad actor is gesturing, also known as the Vanna White effect. If you don't know who she is, Google her. For example, they deliver the line, "I have a headache," while rubbing their temples or grabbing their head to show you how much pain they're in. But does anyone actually do this when they really have a headache? The challenge for the actor is to live as if something were true while knowing that it's not. A good actor can temporarily suspend their disbelief to create an illusion for the audience. But when the actor can't even get themselves to believe the lie, they gesture to try to convince us to believe it. And Erica's entire speech is just one big gesture after another.
Okay, just a little bit of background on me. This 57-year-old woman, as a child, aspired to be an actor. Later in life, I became an actor. I learnt everything I need to learn, could have learnt, had the opportunity to learn, and I was an actor. As a matter of fact, I was in a movie that was nominated for a Portsmouth Award. If you don't know what a Portsmouth Award is, Google it. Now, this is why I say these people live in a bubble. Assure you, believe me when I say the life of an actor is a bubble. When they stray out of that bubble, they have no control. They have the inability to control everything around them except in that arena of acting, in the soundstage, in the recording studio, on set. On set, they're not. When you see a scene of Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow in Friends walking down the street in New York. You don't think that all of those people are just like on their way to work, do you? No, they're all actors. They're all paid extras and actors. And you'll notice that if you're ever around a live shooting, a live film shooting or television series shooting, they have blocked off any area that allows walk-ons or strays to just like be part of it, unless they can make it look like it's part of the scene, like, oh look, we've got roadworks, and then you've got just normal people just avoiding the roadworks and crossing the road, so they're in the distance, the way distance, right? This is how scenes are blocked. This is how acting works. Nadia, we're gesturing too much now, so I must be lying about all of this, right? But she's not, because she's gesturing and she's so frustrated. And I'd just like to say, if you're Italian and you don't freaking gesture, you're not fucking Italian. So sit on that one and rotate. I guess you want to challenge me on the fact that I'm Italian, or the fact that Italians gesture? Mamma mia.
I can already hear you saying, well, Erica isn't an actor, but I disagree. She's just a really
Anyone's
bad
an
one.
actor.
The first red flag for me wasn't anything
it's a
in
really
the
bad
speech,
one.
but in the timing of her address. She had just seen her husband get shot and killed right in front of her 2 days prior, but was somehow still able to deliver a 17-minute coherent speech in full hair and makeup.
Okay. This woman has never been around death. I can guarantee you that she has never been around a going cold dead body in her life, right? She's never seen a death. She's never watched somebody expire from this life. I will guarantee you that the only time she's ever seen a dead body was under a sheet in a pose of a mannequin or an extra who's paid to be a dead body. This woman has no idea, no reality of what it's like to be around death. I do. I have. And I can tell you, and I will swear it on a stack of Bibles, Nadia, without the gesturing, the day that my uncle passed away, we were sitting in his room at the nursing home telling jokes, and we were laughing, and then we were crying, and then we were laughing again. And you know what? We started crying again when the funeral directors came to pick up the body. We started crying when my husband picked up his lifeless body and put it on the stretcher of the funeral home because he wouldn't allow anyone else to pick it up. Nadia. So don't you or anybody else try and tell me or Erica how to deal with the death of a loved one. You don't know shit. And until somebody actually forces you to encounter a real death, you will never know shit. Psychiatrist, actress, award-winning frickin' Logie winner, I don't give a shit. You know nothing. And maybe we'll go through the whole of this video. I know I couldn't stomach the whole thing before, so I'm sure there's going to be something more new, salacious and revolting to me further down the track of this video. So let's continue so I can get my vomit bucket ready.
Whether it's your spouse or not, witnessing a traumatic event like that has marked effects on a person's ability to function.
Yes, it does. But it doesn't have marked effects on a person's ability to function because you get up in the morning, your eyes open, voluntarily or not, your eyes fucking open. Your children cry for breakfast. I'm sorry, you don't lock yourself in a... This woman has no... If just this 2 minutes open, this is just the intro. This is the intro, guys.
At least temporarily. Sudden severe trauma causes not just emotional distress, but cognitive dysfunction, because the amygdala, responsible for fight or flight and for our emotions, is in overdrive, which causes a shutdown of the prefrontal cortex, where we process information. That's why people who experience sudden, severe trauma are often rendered speechless. But not Chatty Cathy. She had plenty to say.
Are you fucking serious? Not Chatty Cathy. What a...
did so without a hitch. The second red flag was the sound quality of the video, or I should say the lack of it. Turning Point USA has access to state-of-the-art equipment, so why wasn't she mic'd? Even if they...
She was mic'd. She had a boom mic. Do you know what a boom mic is? You don't see the boom mic. It hangs over your head on a boom.
only use the internal mic from the camera, we still wouldn't hear this excessive amount of crackling static. In my professional opinion, this sound effect was added later with editing tools.
Okay, so I'm going to give her this one because I checked Real America's. I'm not going to give her this one, but I'm going to give her this one in the fact that she says it's edited. And to be honest with you, I think she added the sound, because you'll see that she goes to the Real America's Voice. I believe it's not Real America's Voice. She goes to RSBN's coverage of it. Now, RSBN have got, pretty good studio equipment. But you go to any one of Charlie Kirk's podcasts and, yes, he does have excellent sound equipment. It would only stand to reason that if somebody was standing away from the built-in mics, such as this one, it doesn't go anywhere unless you unscrew it, right? She was standing at a podium. She would have had a boom mic hanging over her head, Nadia, with a damn good microphone on it. Therefore, she wouldn't have had to be physically mic'd, nor did she have to see the microphone.
To make the recording sound off the cuff and unplanned, which then...
Off the cuff and unplanned. Why? Where in what fucking world? Sorry. In what fucking world? Got to get that timing right. In what world does she think that this was like not planned? Of course it was planned. People wanted to hear from her. She was pressured into doing this. It was planned. She has a executive team of producers behind her. Anything can happen. And anyone in an acting frickin' world would know that anything can be done at the drop of a hat. South Park creates a whole fucking episode. A whole episode in 6 days. So I just found out yesterday. So up yours, Nadia, with this bullshit. Of course it was planned. Yes, it was planned. She wrote a speech, or somebody helped her write a speech. I'm sure she didn't need much help, because everything that flowed through her came from her heart. You stupid, ignorant...
leads me to wonder what the metadata would say about the date and time of this recording. I'm not making accusations. I'm just wondering.
Gee, that sounded like an accusation to me.
As we go through this speech, I want you to notice something really strange. Not the fact that she's not actually crying, because you can see that for yourself, but I counted 7 times that she pats her dry eyes with a tissue.
Okay, first of all, when I watched this, I was not counting how many times she patted her eyes. Second of all, who cares if she patted her eyes? Like, who cares if she patted her nose? Who cares if you couldn't see the tears because she didn't let them come out? Now, if you watch today's episode, prior to this, in the Rose Garden, when Erica was hugging her family, Charlie's family, his mother, to be exact, the tears were freely flowing from that same eye. Now, I didn't see them flowing from the other eye. Perhaps it's a condition. Who knows? She was certainly dabbing both eyes during her speech, Nadia. Does that bust your myth? Because I think it does. Ignorance is bliss, is it not?
And every single time, she only pats her left eye. That's weird because real tears come from both eyes. Also notice that her gestures don't flow naturally, but are motions that start and end with specific verbal cues. Notice the sound. It's a lot.
Okay, notice the sound. She's in a deathly quiet studio. She is walking up. They are still adjusting the sound to her voice as she is beginning to speak. Somebody who is in film would have knowledge of this. Anybody that's worked with a soundboard, with a sound stage, happens right here, Nadia. When I drop a pen, it sounds like an earthquake. When it rains on the roof, it sounds like the roof, the shed's going to cave in on me. So that's because I have the right equipment but haven't mastered the sound. That's on me. Now, that's possibly on RSBN, but it's definitely being adjusted at the time that she's entering the deathly quiet studio, because everybody's in mourning, so nobody is speaking, and the fact that this was a planned event on the fly.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. If you are a person of faith and you are calling upon God, your source of strength and inspiration to help you, this is something that you're going to do private, right? Nope.
No. Again, Nadia, no, it's not something you're going to do private. Have you ever been to a public worship? Have you ever been to a wedding? Have you ever been... Do we just, like, keep our congratulations and our God bless yous to the bride and groom inside the church? Or do we display them openly and publicly? This is just inane. I don't know. Is this her first episode? Because I think she just wanted a reason to get on television. Because, like, somebody's forgetting her and she has got no idea of the subject she speaks on. No freaking idea. This is abhorrent to me.
A person of faith is going to display this, you know, in this super dramatic, all this whispering. You know, that's not authentic. It just is not. Like, that's very performative, and it's trying to show, like, I am a person of faith. I am struggling with this. Like, if you are truly struggling, and this is one thing that you will learn as an actor, a person who is truly struggling is always trying to hide it. That's...
Excuse me? Oh my God, now I know she's a fake. A person that is struggling as an actor is always trying to hide it from the people that are about to hire her or him. That's the only person they're hiding it from. Do you not think that Marilyn Monroe told her friends of her struggles? Do you not think that, what's his name from Friends that died, was not trying to find solace in something away from the set? Who's he going to tell on the set that's not going to... that's not going to let it affect his work? This woman has no idea. Actors do not act. I don't even know if she's an actress. I don't know. I really, like I said, I've seen her somewhere, but I think it's a token. Whatever it is, she is the fake person here. She's totally fake. I would say she's got a pound of Botox in her face. Her eyebrows do not move. And she's got something wrong with that finger there. Like somebody gnawed on it or something. So we can all be critical of everybody. Nadia?
That's what we do when we are truly struggling. We try our best to hide it. We don't put it on display. When this is, again, the gesturing, when we
I don't know if she's ever been on TikTok either, because you could just flick the page and you close your eyes and spin the thing and land on anyone that's got a struggle story to tell you. Nadia, you are for real? Not. I do not believe that you are for real.
gesture to,
you know, how we're feeling or, oh my God, and what am I going to, this is all fake. Okay. You guys have to realize this, like in your regular life, when you are dealing with people in your regular life that do this type of gesturing, just be
She's doing a lot of gesturing herself, isn't she? I mean, look at that hand wave.
aware that they are trying to manipulate you, because that's all that is. A person who's
Be
truly
aware.
struggling, you
Listen
never
to
even
what I'm
can
telling
tell,
you. Don't listen to what they're
because
telling
they
you.
are trying to hide it so much. So let's just go on. And also, you notice the crackling sound, the background sound is just horrible, and there's no real reason for it.
And you'll also notice if you do watch RSBN's coverage of it that crackling is not there, because I checked it. Nor is it on Turning Point USA's YouTube channel, nor is it on Charlie Kirk's YouTube channel.
So moving on.
Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically.
Okay. This, again, is intolerable to me. I'm going to try to keep it together because I told you guys.
Oh, yes, you just try and keep it together, Nadia. You just try and keep it together. It's just it's absolutely intolerable that the woman would stumble on her words, that she would whisper, that she would try and reinforce herself to get the words out. You are a stupid, ignorant piece of crap. White trash loser, Nadia.
That would, you know, give you all the tells, but this heroically, like that is unauthentic, inauthentic. That is
What is it, unauthentic or inauthentic? You better check your thesaurus.
performative, okay? You don't, something that she does a lot in this video, she repeats words that she wants to really let you know that she's feeling. And that is, again, a device. A person who is being authentic is just going to say how they feel, and that's it. If they have to say thank you, they will.
Oh, okay, right. So Erica Kirk is going to come out 48 hours after her husband was slaughtered on the live television all around the world for the world to see. She's going to come out and she's going to say, hey, you know, I just thought I'd, you know, cut some words with you. We'll have a bit of a chat. Tell everybody to chill. Charlie wouldn't want this shit. You know, come on, let's can't we all just, like, get along? She's just going to come out and chat. She's not going to show any emotion. She's not going to take a minute to catch her breath, to, like, reinforce her words, get that extra strength from God. She's not going to do that. Nadia, you are ignorance personified.
And it's just surprising to me, and I'll go into it later in this video, but that a person who has just gone through such a traumatic event, right? Not only was he her spouse, but even if he wasn't, let's pretend, being in a crowd and seeing someone get killed, right?
Okay, again, she has no idea, none, what it's like to encounter death in real life. I'll tell you how I know, again, this, because I have encountered my fair share of death. When I was in the States, not a year ago from today, I was in the States, December, right? We were coming back from Charlie Kirk's Amfest festival in Arizona. 9:30 in the evening, traveling across New Mexico. Mile marker 42. Came across a rollover. Single car rollover, single occupant. Guess what? Nadia, said occupant was thrown from the vehicle into the bush and died. Guess what, Nadia? Guess who called his death? Moi. I have the film to prove it. I do. So anybody that wants to dispute it or say that it's a lie, that I'm just making it up, come at me, baby. Nadia, come at me, baby. I'll show you the film. I was the one that called the police. I was one of the people that called the police. My husband got out there with all the other people trying to put out the bushfire that was ready and rampant to spread across the frickin' night of New Mexico. So do not pretend to then sit there and tell us, let alone Erica, what is real, what is intolerable to you, and how you would do it. Because guess what? We don't care. Was that soft enough for you?
Real time is an extremely traumatic event. This is not something that renders most people able to coherently give a 17-minute speech 2 days later. Most people will be very much like unable even to process simple things because your mind is not working in the same way. Your prefrontal cortex has been shut down, pretty much.
I don't even know if she is a psychologist or... Because, like, it's easy to learn this stuff. This stuff's easy to Google. Like, Google lobotomy, you learn about all of this stuff. Your prefrontal cortex, all the freaking files, the memories, the... What did she call it? The amygdala. See, you know... Anyone can learn this shit. Anyone. And pretend that they are... I mean, God, look at the teacher. Look at the illegal immigrant that was practicing as a superintendent for a district of schools. Anyone can pretend, Nadia. We aren't the actors, darling. You are.
It's been compromised because your amygdala is in overdrive. Your amygdala, which is like fight or flight, which are our emotions. The amygdala...
What? Fight or flight doesn't come into this. Why? Where is fight or flight come into this? She's not fighting or flying from anything. She's not under extreme terror or caution or hazard. She's not. She's had 2 days to process the fact that her husband has died. She has 2 living children and a whole company to take on. That is fight or flight. And she's fighting. If you can't see that, Nadia, you are blind as well as dumb.
When you see something like this, when you experience a sudden and severe trauma, your amygdala lights up. And when that happens, your prefrontal cortex shuts down. So all of your reasoning...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't shut down. If it shuts down, anything in your brain shuts down, you're gone. You're in a coma. You're dead. That's what happens when the brain shuts down. What it does is it lowers your tolerance. So that if you normally have a high tolerance for stress and you get something really traumatic happen to you, that tolerance is here instead of here, Nadia, right? If your tolerance goes down to 0 and your brain shuts down, it's the same thing that happens if your heart shuts down. Get it? Because that's what's keeping you alive. That's what's giving you the ability to talk your bullshit and spew your vile. The heart keeps pumping. The brain gets the oxygen it needs, the blood that it needs. And then it does what it has to do. Just like this woman is doing what she had to do. Yes, 48 hours after her husband was slaughtered by a twerp with a Mauser.
Your logic, all of this stuff just goes out the window. That's why a lot of people that go through stuff like this don't even know what time it is, what day it is. Things just lose. Because when somebody dies, you just don't wear a watch anymore. You don't have a clock. You don't carry a phone. Because you don't know what time it is because it's not available to you. Because your brain won't let you think, oh, I'll just look at my watch. Meaning, but Erica is able not only to keep it together very well, considering, but she's actually being like coherent and she's like listing all the first responders. And I'm not saying not to be grateful, but it's just like so over the top this, and I'm sorry for all that noise.
Okay. When my father died, one of the first things, when anybody that close to me has died, and I've had a few, one of the first things I've had to do, and I've actually had to organise 2 full funerals, one of the first things you actually have to do is put in our lives, the way that we've lived life and death, we put a notice in the newspaper. Okay? One of the lines in those notices is, we would like to thank all the staff and doctors and nurses at the Vales Nursing Home. Give me a fucking break, Nadia. Do you think that this woman is some beauty pageant queen that answers, when asked the question, what do you want? If you could have one wish, what would it be? And her answer is, I would like world peace. I think that probably would have been your answer. Maybe that's where you're from. Maybe that's where I've seen you in some beauty pageant somewhere trying to make it. I'm jealous of Erica because she did. She was Miss Arizona and then she was Mrs. Charlie Kirk. And now she is Turning Point. I think it's jealousy.
It's just so over the top, ridiculous. Like, it's stunning to me how how I'm supposed to believe that this is a woman.
No, you're not supposed to believe. This isn't directed at you. If you didn't want to watch it, if you think that she's a lying, thieving grifter, then why do you watch it? Why do you have to criticize on it? Why can't you just keep your mouth shut?
And that just went through this type of trauma. So let's continue.
Save Charles's life. And the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family.
I want you to notice how she said that, because her speech got very matter of fact. Like,
I beg your pardon? The speech got very matter of fact. Okay, it's speech. This woman is a joke.
Our Turning Point.
I'm annoyed at myself for airing it, but she's a joke, and I had to make sure that people realise that she's a joke. I really hope if anybody's watching my podcast, they will go onto hers and tell her what a joke she's made of herself and what we think of her, because I certainly have, and I encourage anybody to go on there and exercise their right to free speech and tell this woman that she knows zero about what she's talking about.
Family, like, how do you, this is not a person, in my opinion, that is in shock. It just isn't. She's very composed. And just let me see if I can replay it.
Victims on that terrible afternoon.
Also, I want to say that terrible afternoon. So when investigators, for example, are interviewing a suspect or a possible suspect, right? One of the first things that they do is they try to distance themselves from what actually happened. So that terrible afternoon, not, the day he got killed, right?
The day he got killed was a terrible afternoon. Why would she want to distance herself when they've got a suspect? Like, why would she distance herself when they've got a suspect? She forgave him. We all heard that. So, as I said, this was in between this and the memorial, so there was no forgiveness as of yet. She just thinks that this woman is so immoral that she was lying about her true faith, and the fact that she, in her true faith, can find it in herself the liberty to forgive this man. I couldn't. I'll admit that.
So they try to minimize what actually happened, and they try to minimize also like their involvement in it. And sometimes they will even talk about themselves in third person. So everything's kind of like pushed away. So that terrible afternoon, well, I don't know, but I would think that it's more than just like terrible. Like, you lost your husband in this very tragic and violent way. Like, I think it goes beyond terrible, but why is she diminishing it? Let's go on.
I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family.
See how my
I'm sorry, I had to put it up. You would have seen, I just put it up to 1.5 speed. It's like we're 8 minutes or 9 minutes in, and I just can't. So if I have to listen to it again, I'm just going to listen to it at 1.5 speed, and then we can get this over and done with, because I really feel like I'm going to vomit.
These past 2 days.
So matter of fact.
And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board.
The board.
The COO, Justin Strive.
The COO, the board, this is what you're thinking of?
Yes, this is what she's thinking of. Do you not get it? Do you not understand? She's thanking the people that have rallied around her in this moment of grief. I'm talking faster because she's talking faster. And so now I can talk faster. You're an idiot. You're an idiot, Nadia. She's thanking the people that need to be thanked because she felt their presence after this tragedy, that terrible afternoon.
This is what's on your head?
I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show.
What is there to laugh about? I don't understand these reactions.
Again, crying, joking, laughing, crying. Shut your mouth. Stop trying to presume what people should feel. It's not your emotion. You don't own it. You can't claim it. It is not yours to judge.
These reactions are not congruent with what just happened. Not for a person who's in shock, not for a person who's in mourning.
Why do people think that they can just throw out words and think that they make sense? Because it doesn't. None of it makes sense to a person in grief. None of it, Nadia. You just have no actual understanding of a real grief.
And I will address I know what you're thinking. I will address this later on. Let's just get through this somehow.
Who helped him broadcast from the studio,
Okay, gesturing. I told you guys, right? And it's right on cue. It's like from this, it's to me repulsive. It is perverse what is happening here. So I am trying to keep it together. But this type of gesturing, looking over exactly on cue.
This type of gesturing happening right on, like, if she wasn't, she wasn't going to desecrate her husband's seat by sitting in there and giving a speech from it. But she was close by to it. She touched it because it reminds her of him. It probably smells like him. Do you have a loved one that you smell, that lingering smell of them on their clothes when they go, when they go on a work trip? Do you have anybody like that in your life, Nadia? I just want to gesture over here to my wonderful White House. I just want to gesture over here because my grandsons, whom I love and adore, whom aren't with me at the moment because, they've gone to school. But I just wanted to gesture how wonderful they were to help me build this wonderful White House. It's just amazing that such two beautiful, intelligent, lovely, loving children could, have the brain power to actually put Lego together. Darlings, I love you.
On this, what is that? Like, what is that? This is so using devices for all this drama, for all this, I get so upset about this. But anyway, let's continue.
this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did.
Every day.
I want to thank the millions of people who have shown.
Okay, I want you to notice how quickly she turned, right? Because she's going every day. Like, she's so heartbroken. And immediately, it turns into every day. I want to thank, notice this, I'm going to rewind.
I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie.
No, let's not do it again. You're an idiot. Let's just skip over that bit because you're an idiot.
I want to thank the million. Do you guys not see something wrong with this? Am I the only person here?
No, Nadia.
I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance.
Okay, now
the reason you see something wrong with that is because inside of that pallid skin of yours is no soul.
Get to the political part. This is where she's going to go down the line of all the political people and everybody, you know, it's like this long list of name dropping and just all politics, right? So.
And his phenomenal.
Yes, or politics. Do you know why? Guess what? Charlie was actually a political activist. That's what he did. That was one of the things that he did. Besides bringing people back to God, besides educating the children that they didn't really need to waste $100,000 on universities and colleges to get where they wanted to get in life, because, you obviously were forced to go through that brainwashing 4 years of college that turned you into this ugly person.
Phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well bringing him home.
There's a question about that, and I know a lot of you have already raised it, but even going back to like what she was saying about first responders, like why wasn't there an ambulance there? Any event that has so many people, like things can happen. There was no ambulance there. He was taken to a not the nearest hospital. Like if there's
wrong and wrong. So Charlie was at a college, and guess what colleges have? They have medical response teams. Guess what else they have? Ambulances on speed dial. Guess what else? The closest people to Charlie grabbed him and put him in a car and took him to the nearest hospital. And from there, he was jetted out to the big hospital where they could cope with his death. Okay? End of story.
a lot of weird stuff going on here, but I just want you to take notice of that. Let's keep going.
You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump.
She did it again. Did you notice? You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump. You guys, this is not a genuine emotion. This is not a person who is genuinely feeling what they are saying. I'm going to replay it because this has to be replayed.
Phenomenal wife.
Because they will manipulate you.
For their love and support. You.
Okay, so I really should have, what I really should have done was brought in a copy of my dad's funeral service where I spoke and I cried and I laughed and I was matter of fact. She's this girl. I swear to God, please, I don't know if anybody's out there, anybody's watching, please comment and let me know if you've ever been to a funeral that hasn't been A, planned, B, structured, you've ever survived a death of someone close to you where emotions have gone like a roller coaster up and down, where you find yourself laughing and then noticing that you're laughing and feeling guilty about laughing, and then that guilt pushes you back into crying, and so on and so forth for many, many days and weeks to come, depending on how close the person was to you. Please comment. I would love to know if anybody actually believes that this woman has half a brain, let alone a psychology degree.
Guys, honored my husband so well bringing him home. You both are tremendous.
Watch.
I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you.
I'm not, so many videos have been made to mock her, but it's just notice.
Oh, come on. So many videos have been made to mock it. What the fuck do you think you're doing? You disgusting leech.
So she's making all the faces, but no tears are coming out, you guys. Like, she's grimacing. She's like, but nothing is coming out of her eyes. You get it? And I know.
Yeah. Do you know what it's like to be cried out? Do you know what it's like? I don't think you do. Because there are moments when you just want to cry and nothing comes out, not even a sound. You're crying inside because that's how you feel.
I know a lot of you are going to have a hard time with this video. And like I said, I'm not trying to change your mind.
Oh, that's an understatement. A lot of us. I'm sick that I even came across this stupid video.
But be cognizant, because people use this BS on you all the time to manipulate you, to get you to do things for them and get you to believe certain things. And it's all BS. And I know that you're good people, and that's why you don't want to think that a widow is capable of doing this and you're trying to make excuses for her and all the rest of it. But there is just no way that a person who is genuine is going to make all of these without a tear. Come on. Like, she's not crying. I just want you to notice she's making the face, but she's not crying.
She's such an ignoramus. You wouldn't see a tear. You wouldn't see it from there.
And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing.
More whispering.
You supported him so.
Your friendship was amazing. You see? It's like all on cue. It's like okay, and a good actor will be able to say your friendship was amazing, like without it being like on a word, right? She's not a good actor. She's trying to act. She's acting, but she's not good at it. But just keep in mind, and that's the first dry eye, thing.
It's like, of course she's acting. She's trying to make her way through this. It is an act. All she wants to do, as I said, is hide out in her bedroom and cry and cry and cry until she can't cry anymore and nothing is meaningful to her anymore. Is that what you want from her, Nadia? She is the boss lady now. She is the mother of the children. She is the runner of the household. She's acting every day to get through this. Every single day is an act. This is Act 1. You're already on your exodus.
She does. She's going to keep doing it.
Well, as did he for you. Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr.
I take issue with this, and I'll tell you why.
Of course
Charlie
you do.
didn't have the choice to be a martyr. He didn't have that choice, right? He was killed. He didn't have.
Mm-hmm. So what is she saying? Did Joan of Arc choose to be martyred? Did any other martyr choose to be martyred? Or were they given the choice to just go off and live a happy life as long as they promised not to talk about whatever it was that got them martyred in the first place? See, she doesn't even know what a martyr really is. He was martyred because somebody took his life while he was talking about something that somebody didn't like. You should Google the definition of martyr, Nadia.
The choice. He was like the choice to do something, to give up your life or not or whatever. That choice was taken from him because this came out of nowhere. He was out in an event with security, I'm sure trusting that they had swept the buildings, that everything was secure, that everybody was going to do their jobs, and that everything would be fine. But saying that he's a martyr, automatically, it changes the narrative, right? So now if he's a martyr, we can just look at him that way, and we don't have to ask so many questions anymore, you guys. He laid down his own life on purpose. He was killed, but, he willingly went. No, he did not. He did not willingly go, okay? He had no choice. But she's coloring it in a way that makes anyone watching this believe that he
did lay his life down. He did lay his life down on purpose. He laid his life down every day with the purpose of convincing students that they had the liberty to live their life under the Constitution and the freedoms that God offered them at their creation. So, yes, he did lay down, he did die, he did go out there with purpose, and while he was out there with that purpose, he was murdered for it, Nadia. That is a martyr.
voluntarily gave up his life, and he didn't. This is not fair. He had no choice.
He loved it.
So it's not fair that he's being called a martyr because you don't think that he deserves the moniker of a martyr. It doesn't matter what you think. That's the problem. So is a suicide bomber a martyr? Is a suicide bomber a martyr because they took their life by their own choice? Stupid woman. Like, it's not about who takes your life. It's the fact that your life was taken in the expression, in your freedom of expression. Somebody chose to take your life, whether it was by force, by accident, or by surprise.
Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. Want me to say go Ducks, so.
Okay, not only is that all this laughing and giggling super bizarre and, again, not something that a person who is in shock would do, but...
Who gives her the right? Who made her king of emotion and said that she has the right to tell people what an emotion should look like, what a feeling should look like, what grief should look like? Nadia, you have lost the plot. I hope that you got reamed on this video. I really do. I hope that I wasn't the only one that told you where you can shove your opinions, because you are depraved if you think that this is of any benefit to anybody. I don't know what it is that you think you're trying to call her out for, but whatever you're saying is all lies, wrong, and innuendo. and you add to the crap and the violence that ensues with your words of disgusting imagination, because that's all they are. It's just your imagination working overdrive. You can't just look at something and take it as for what it might be, someone's sincere way of getting through a moment.
You know the schedule for the Ducks? Like, you remember that after what you just went through, after what you just saw? You remember that? This goes to show, it shows me clear as day. And I'll tell you, because, you know, a lot of times.
So she knows the schedule for the Ducks because Charlie would have known the schedule for the Ducks. And Charlie would have made time to sit down and watch the game. So, you know, ignorance is a weapon. It can cut through and hurt people. So, like, again, I hope people go onto her website and blunt her wicked sharpness.
You can tell what a person is, when a person is pretending, when a person is lying, when a person is just going through the motions, because a person that has gone through the trauma that she just went through would not have remembered the Ducks or even the Ducks existed. And that's just the truth. And if you don't believe me, look it up, or else I can do another video on it, because that would make this one way too long.
I have to, since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so look it up. So she's going from a textbook. She's saying, okay, in the textbook it says that you shouldn't remember the name of your husband's favourite team that he lived for, that he loved, that he just got to walk on their home ground. You shouldn't remember that, because the textbook says that you shouldn't. So Nadia is a textbook psychologist. I don't know if she's ever practiced anything except on people that she's never met, like psychoanalyzing people like Erica and probably people like me. Good luck with me.
He loved me with all of his heart, and I knew that. Every day I knew that. He made sure I knew that every day. Every day he would ask me, how can I?
Every day, she repeats it like 4 or 5 times. Again, with the repetition. Just take note.
Charlie always said that if he ever ran for office, I know a lot of you asked if he ever was going to, but
Okay.
privately.
Second time. Notice. Because I counted like 7 times that she, in total.
Why do you have to notice? Like, notice. She wants you to notice that she's patting her eyes dry. Why do we have to notice? What is so effective about a woman patting tears from her eye that makes it a gesture that is not genuine? Why do we have to notice? Why do we have to notice? Notice, she says. But then she doesn't explain why we need to notice and how this, whether it be fake or not, address is affecting her life. That's why she needs us to notice, so it doesn't affect our lives. Well, I can guarantee you it hasn't affected mine, except in a way that's made me cry more than I really wanted to.
Tissues her dry eyes, but it's always the same eye. Take a notice. Just look.
Told me if he ever did run for office that his top priority would be.
Is it the same nose? Or do you go by left and right nostril? Does that make a difference?
To revive the American family. One of Charlie's favorite Bible verses was Ephesians 5, verse 25.
Gesturing. Ephesians 5:25. She doesn't know how to act. She's trying to, but she doesn't know how to.
My husband laid down
I like to see your Emmy.
his life for me, for our nation, for our children.
Again, he didn't lay his life down. He wasn't given that choice. It was taken from him. So.
I will never, ever have the words to describe the loss that I feel in my heart.
She won't have the words. No, but you know, words are cheap, right? Actions speak louder than words. And I can see with my own 2 eyes, and I hope you guys can too, that she is not being a genuine, authentic, sorrowful person. I don't know why, but it's clear. It's like if you have eyeballs, you can see it. She's not being real. None of this is real.
Charlie, baby, I know you do too. I know you do. So
I don't understand what's not real about it. Like, seriously, she's not being real. How is she not being real? Is she an apparition? Is that like was she like beamed in, Scotty? How is she not real? This is her life. This is her voice. This is her words. What is the definition of real to you, Nadia? Like, I don't know. Are you, like, do you espouse the robot? Everybody be a brainwashed robot like you? Everybody espouses to pretend to be somebody that they're not, as actors do. That is their job, is to pretend to be somebody they are not. So how do we know that you're not being somebody that you're not? Because I'd like to see you on your hardest day, in private or in public.
And our world is filled with...
Okay, notice once again, I know you did too. In our world, like, this is not natural, you guys. This is all acting. I would be curious to see the paper, the script. It probably doesn't even exist anymore, but I guarantee you that every cue was written.
I guarantee you it does exist. I guarantee you that every scrap of paper, every tiny little memento that she picked up on that day exists. And it's still in a box close to her, very, very close to her at all times at this point.
Out for her, like, this is where you pat, this is where you whisper, this is where you know, now.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I think Erica should release the script just on that basis, that she thinks that she's got blocking in there for pat your eyes, move to the left, touch Charlie's chair. What sort of ignorant asshole says things like that?
Change tone, like, you go from this to this, like, because that is not a natural progression. Human beings have to experience the entire emotion as it goes through, and then it will change into something else, but it takes...
On whose time frame, Nadia? On whose time frame does one have to experience the whole emotion? Not yours, not mine. It's their time frame. You've got no right and no basis to even like talk about it. To even try and dissect or diagnose what's going through Erica Kirk's mind at the moment. You are the last person that she gives a shit about, and frankly, the last person that I'm going to give a shit about after the end of this video, because you have no real life experience. You do know that, don't you? You have no real life experience, because real life experience doesn't have a set like the one behind you. Real life experience doesn't have a perfect coiffure like yours, or the perfect eyebrow raises and the perfect shaped eyes like yours. Did you have a makeup lady? Did you have somebody flicking the screen for you? Do you have a producer, Nadia? Are you scripted? Is somebody telling you when to move your hands and make a gesture?
It's a beat. It doesn't take like a cue. But let's just watch that part again.
I know you do. So does our Lord. And our world is filled with evil. I've heard the testimonies from people my husband inspired to get married.
Third time. Again. Same eye. Watch.
I've heard the testimonies from people my husband inspired to get married.
Told you.
To start families. The evil do.
What? She's evil. Look at her face. Like, you watch Nadia's face. Don't just close your eyes to what Erica's movements are and watch Nadia's face, because Nadia is taking pleasure in the fact that she's dissecting a woman in her hour of grief. This is the sicko that's trying to get clicks and trying to get people to follow her by tearing down a woman that just lost her husband in the most public and shameful way possible. This woman is disgusting. I loathe her. I loathe her.
Responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea.
Okay, I have to stop it right there, because she's going to say she's going to say no idea like 10 times. And it's this repetition that is so performative. No one speaks this way. No one is genuinely going to express themselves this way. You can say to someone, you have no idea, right? Because you mean it. But when you're trying to show that you mean it, then You
have no idea. None. None whatsoever. No idea, Nadia. No idea, Nadia. None. No idea. Emphasis.
Employ devices like this. This is really bad acting. But notice how many times she says, you have no idea. She already said it once.
They have done. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea.
3.
You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country
4,
and this world. You have no idea.
5.
You have no idea the fire that you have
6.
ignited within this wife.
Again, emphasis. You have no idea what you've done. You have no idea how I'm going to handle it. You have no idea what we're going to do in response. You have no idea how to clean your own underwear. You have no idea how to make a decent video. You have no idea about acting, and you have no idea about psychology. There's just no idea, Nadia. Come on.
Okay, this wife, again, this is putting her, what she is trying to do is to
What's she trying to
kind
do?
of give herself a different, yes, she's his wife, but she says this wife, not me, right? Me is me, but this wife, it becomes a persona. This persona is being created right here. So you can see it, this wife, this widow.
Okay, well, what would she say? That wife or that widow? Would she say, you have no idea what you have ignited in those people over there? You stupid idiot.
You know, because that is what is going to conjure up in the audience tropes. Now, these tropes are usually the warrior or some mythological something where, you know, it gets everybody excited and, oh, yes, I remember this is what she is now. She's not Erica Kirk. She's not me. It's this wife. She's creating a persona. Just watch.
The cries of this.
She's creating a persona that has to take over from the persona that was murdered on a college campus. Charlie's persona. She's to take on his armor of God as well as her own. She's to take on his enemies as well as her own. And she has to take on people like you too.
Widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
Battle cry. So we're in war.
It was. We are. It was and we are. We are in a spiritual war for our faith. We are in a spiritual war for our countries. We're also in a war with our politicians. War is war. You have to fight, Nadia. Don't fight, you get jabbed and you lose the war.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die.
She's making a lot of grimaces, but there's no tears. There's no tears. Like,
all of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure that our campus tour this fall will continue.
Okay, now she gets into Turning Point USA's whole schedule and how nothing's changed and everything will remain the same and all the events are still going to take place. And she goes into this weird, in my opinion, diatribe.
And that's proof positive that she meant it. Because guess what's happening? All the Turning Point USA events are going forward. They're already calling for AmFest next year.
About getting people to sign up and young people to sign up and just come to the events. Like, why? I just don't understand. There is not a world where knowing what I know about psychology and human behavior, that this makes any sense or this looks like a person who's in grieving. A person who is in mourning is not going to be able, okay? Maybe someone else from Turning Point would be able to say this stuff, like, make sure you guys join, we're still gonna have our events, we're still gonna do this, because they're a little bit more removed from the actual event, from actual Charlie's death. But this is his widow. This is his widow promoting Turning Point. And you can say, oh, because she wants to make sure. Yeah, of course she wants to make sure. That's why you delegate that. When you're in mourning, you delegate that responsibility to someone else. I mean, just take a look at...
Excuse me? No. That's not necessarily what happens. How do you know who delegates what? Are you the head of a successful multi-million-dollar business? Are you in charge of over 250 chapters of a very successful youth activist program? Are you in charge of several youth faith programs? Are you in charge of putting on events all across the nation on a weekly basis? Sorry, darling. Delegation gets done. She delegates and it gets done. So I don't know what you're talking about. The delegation is happening. She's the boss. She gets to delegate. And you can't tell her who to delegate what to if she decides to take it on herself.
Like, even in the news, when God forbid, but a family is going, their child is missing or whatever, sometimes they can't keep it together. So their lawyer will say, the family would like to ask anybody that, that has any information, because they can't talk, they can't speak, they can't communicate, that they're grieving. They're grieving.
Yes, like the father that shot his children with a crossbow, shot his daughter in the neck and the chest with a crossbow, had to shoot her again because she didn't die the first time, slaughtered his wife, and then got on national television and pretended to grieve and cry and moan and beg for people to bring back his wife and child. That's an actor. And a bad one. Because guess where he is?
And so, yeah, it's totally fine for her to still want his work to move on and legacy and all that. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that she herself is doing it. She herself has enough presence of mind to promote Turning Point USA at this particular moment in time, and to do so in such a composed and calculated manner. Okay? So just keep that in mind.
The radio and
Well, at least we've got a mind to keep it in, because you've lost yours.
podcast show that he was so proud of.
Again, gesturing. Again with the...
Okay, look, that's it for me, folks. I cannot do this. There's probably another 10 minutes or something. 5 minutes. I just can't. I can't even. I think you get the general idea of what this woman is about. I think you can see that she is just full of hate and vitriol for some reason against Erica Kirk. I have no idea how she felt about Charlie, but I would hazard a guess and say that she didn't think very fondly of him the way that she has behaved during this video. Charlie didn't care about losing friends. I guess he probably didn't care much about making friends like you either. Nadia, you are a disgrace. You are a disgrace to the ethical side of psychology and mental health. You are a disgrace to the industry of acting and producing and the imaginary life set that you want to, or you think you live in. But as I said, I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where, because you're that inconspicuous and inconsequential, unlike Charlie and his wife and family and his business and his mission, that you don't deserve recognition for anything that you've ever done. And that's probably why you've got some cheap little YouTube video award that you could probably buy online, as far as I'm aware. You don't have to be anything special to get one, because a lot of people get them. And I've seen them in a lot of no-name people's studios in their background, because it is the only thing that they've got. I've got nothing but my life experience. These are all parts of me, things that I've done, things that have happened to me, and things that everything I look at holds a memory. Everything, Nadia, because I'm an emotional being and I have different emotions on different days and different circumstances, and I treat each emotion differently, as do normal, sane, cognitive human beings. And that is not what you are. And I don't know if you'll ever be. And I pity anybody that has to live and work around you. So on that note, we're going to end your furlough into my bunker. I will never hopefully have to bring to anybody your vile filth and lies to call you out, but believe me, I will if I have to. So Charlie has left us on his birthday today. We acknowledge that he now wears a golden halo, a crown of a martyr. But we are now his deputies and his posse, and we wear the badges. Some would jump out and say, we don't need no stinking badges. But we wear them, and we have to wear them with pride and with honour. If we ever want to fix what these people have done to our country, to our countries, and to our lives. And to people like Nadia, who are absolutely crazed with jealousy and disdain for everybody around them that doesn't agree with their precise way of living. So take that badge and tell them, we are Charlie Kirk. Okay, guys, keep the faith, follow the facts, find the fight. MAGA out.